Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone. Regular rollers time. Thank you everyone as always for all the great submissions, whether I ended up using your listing or not. Let's go ahead and check out this week's entries. We'll start with one sent in by my man Living with LT, who has a great YouTube channel. Been on his channel and plan to go on it again soon. He wrote, check out this 2005 donruss Danny Graves Diamond King certified auto out of 100. This card is extremely special to me as Danny Graves is the first ever Vietnamese baseball player. He was also born in Vietnam. So as soon as I found out we had a player, I had to see him. I bid on this as soon as I found a cheap auto, and this one was serial numbered. Super stoked to get it for under $10 with shipping. This one was sent in by Sean, who wrote, I picked up this 2004 Fleer multicolor triple patch game-worn jersey card numbered to 25, featuring A-Rod, Nomar Garciaparra, and Manny Ramirez. This card tells a great story. In 2003, all three players made the AL All-Star game, which this card depicts. That winter, however, the Red Sox and Rangers agreed on a trade that would have sent A-Rod to Boston in exchange for Manny Ramirez and pitching prospect John Lester. The deal, however, was vetoed at the last second by the Major League Baseball Players Association, which ruled against A-Rod taking a voluntary pay cut of $4 million per year to join the Red Sox. Upon completion of the A-Rod deal, Nomar Garciaparra would have been sent to the White Sox for Maglio Ordonez. In the 2004 season, harboring deep resentment over the way the Red Sox tried to replace him for A-Rod, a disgruntled Nomar was eventually traded, netting Orlando Cabrera and first baseman Doug Mankiewicz. In 2004, of course, the Red Sox would go on to win their first World Series since 1918, with Manny, Cabrera, and Mankiewicz all playing important roles. This card is from that time and depicts the three key players that comprise one of the greatest what-ifs in Boston sports history. This was sent in by Neil, who wrote, I wrote to you last week about a Stan Mikita PSA 9 Dad's Cookies that sold for $11, and I was upset that I missed out on it, but this one I did get. It's a 1976 Kellogg's Vita Blue PSA 10 for $8 all in. I purchased it before he passed. Yes, it has a cracked case, but for $25 I can get it reholdered. A PSA 10 sold in February for almost $350. Interesting. Wow. Yeah. I mean, if obviously there's a chance that the card has been damaged through the crack or around the place of the crack of the case, but probably not. And yeah, if you get this reholdered for $25, you've obviously gotten yourself a killer deal here, assuming it still comes back at 10. This was sent in by Guy, who wrote, I bought a Luca Doncic Goodwin Champions rookie auto in a 5-star grading slab for $200 strictly because the eBay guarantee being offered for free for a limited time, thinking I might just score a banger of a steal of a deal because his PSA Authentic autos are routinely going for $1,000. 5-star grading doesn't have very good reviews, so I figured if it came back from eBay certified, I could send it right off to PSA. But I got an email from eBay yesterday saying they couldn't authenticate this item, and when I called to ask why they aren't just sending it back to the seller and why they aren't certifying it, they said basically 5 stars as no good of a company, but since it wasn't listed properly, so I can return it once it shows up, which I pointed out doesn't make sense. If it's no good, why are you shipping it to me? This is a story of how valuable eBay authentication really is, since I will be starting the return as soon as it shows up. I hate scammers, and I'm grateful eBay is doing something to make their job harder, even though the seller had nothing but positive feedback and might just be making an honest mistake here. Yeah, that's strange. I guess I don't know the program particularly well. Perhaps they just don't do it with autographs that aren't pack pulled autographs. But yeah, I would have thought they would have, if they thought this was no good, I would have thought they would have just sent it back to the seller and refunded you on the spot, but apparently not. This was sent by Carl, who wrote, I was browsing eBay and I saw this 1952 Mickey Mantle. I'm not an expert on the 52 Mantles, nor am I an expert on counterfeits, but something about the condition just seemed off to me. So I looked it up on PSA. While the registration number is correct, but when I clicked the lot number and visualized the card, it's a completely different card than the one graded by PSA. Am I making a mistake in how I look up the card on PSA? Besides the PSA registration number, how do you investigate your purchase? So I'm not actually sure what's going on here. I think PSA's just made a mistake on their website. Nothing about the listing strikes me as wrong. You can see it's a much older PSA label with before they had the hologram. So there's not going to be an image of this card on the PSA website. But yeah, you do if you enter in the cert number, which you did correctly, and down at the bottom it shows you completed sales of this specific card in this certificate number. But if you click on it down there, it shows you this card, which is a completely different cert number. So I don't know why that is. It's possible that this is a fake, but I think it's more likely that PSA has just made a mistake on their website, and this particular sale is not supposed to be linked to this card. That would be my guess, but I actually don't know that for sure. This was sent by David. Wrote, I picked up this 1996 Topps Finest Gold Refractor Ken Griffey Jr. card for $60 as a buy it now listing only minutes after it was posted. $60 seems like a steal to me given that the recent sales for this card in a PSA 9 have been around $500 and a PSA 10 recently sold for 4 figures. The card still has the coating on it and looking at the photos appears to be in great condition. Yeah, this was definitely a mistake by the seller. $60 is way too low. This card's worth a whole lot more than that. So you got yourself quite a bargain here. I mean, it does appear to be a little bit off center left to right, so I don't think it would grade a 10, but everything else about it looks great. So yeah, you got yourself a great card here for a bargain price. This was sent by SW, who wrote, I have a small vintage bargain to share. I'm building a mid-grade 1973 Topps baseball set, and I'm always on the lookout for cheap Mike Schmidt rookies. My persistence paid off when I found this poorly labeled lot that had some key rookies hidden within it, Mike Schmidt, Goose Gossage, and Brett Boone. All in, I got the lot for just under $83, and because I had many of the other cards already or they were in less than desired condition, I sold everything but the Schmidt, netting $20. So now I'm the proud owner of this slightly loved, decently centered, crease-free VGX Mike Schmidt rookie for $63, and I couldn't be happier. Yeah, nice job there looking at over the listing here, looking over the pictures, and yeah, the Mike Schmidt rookie is hidden down there towards the lower left corner and not mentioned. So yeah, you get yourself a nice price here for a Schmidt rookie for sure. This was sent by Cameron, who wrote, in my area there is a thrift store that brings out unsold inventory donations and sells it by the pound. They bring out totes, clothes, houseware, etc. every day, and the inventory constantly changes. I've seen thousands of sports card lots come through there, but never anything too interesting until today. There was a bin filled with early 70s baseball, football, and basketball. I was able to snag a few hundred cards amongst the other competition and pulled these two beauties along with some other nice Hall of Fame cards in one rubber-banded stack. I checked with the others, and they didn't find anything too spectacular other than some Hall of Fame players, but the store charges $1.19 per pound, so I must have paid under 5 cents for these two Mickey Mantle cards. Wow, congrats on that. And, you know, these kind of stories are becoming less and less frequent, but obviously you got yourself one here. You know, this is a 1961 Mantle and a 68 Mantle. They both look pretty nice. I mean, I'm sure they're not mint, but they look pretty nice. I don't see major flaws with them. The backs look nice. They certainly look legit. These are both, you know, certainly 3-figure cards each, and to get them for 5 cents each, that's obviously a price anyone would pay for these. This was sent in by Adam, and it's obviously more of a high roller item, but wanted to talk about it a bit here. He wrote, I thought this one might be honorable mention worthy. Forget about investing in high-grade vintage, goats, or even prospects. Put your nest egg into Hasbulla. What could possibly go wrong? I didn't know who this was. So this card sold for 17,000 Canadian dollars, close to $13,000. It's a 2023 Panini Prizm Gold Prizm Auto of Hasbulla Magomedov. I guess I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But this is a lot of money for this, and I didn't know this was. I went on Wikipedia just to read his Wikipedia page. It reads, Hasbulla Magomedov is an influencer from Russia. He suffers from a form of dwarfism that gives him the stature and voice of a small boy. Magomedov is active on TikTok and has 8.7 million followers on Instagram. Hasbulla's big idol is UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov, another one I'm probably mispronouncing. After a video of Hasbulla's impersonation of Nurmagomedov went viral, the two became friends. This earned him the nickname Mini Khabib due to his popularity in the MMA world. In September of 2022, UFC President Dana White offered him a 5-year contract for promotional purposes. This sale appears to be legit, but that is pretty wild. And we'll finish on a vintage lot sent in by Tom, and I really enjoyed these. He wrote, in my never-ending quest to make quick Sewall-like evaluations on the lots on the fly, I ran across this lot, which I found interesting. First off, for the most part, I thought the cards were in great shape, but on the other hand, they are football, which, as you've discussed many times, offers much less value for your money than, say, baseball. Curious, several of the lesser players in the lot had on-card autographs, which the seller didn't mention. I know you said that you're not really an autograph guy, and I'm not either, but for the card buying measures, even lesser players' autos hike prices. The span of years was dizzying as the cards ranged from the mid-50s to the late 70s. You see ultimately that it was all in for $31, about $1.36 per card. What would you say? Was this a great deal, good deal, bad deal? What do you think the lot's worth? So from a resale perspective, like if you're buying this strictly just split it up, resell it for profit, I don't see much here. There are 4 autograph cards from the late 70s, early 80s, but they're all commons. Those are really, really hard to sell if they're not authenticated. You do have some stars. You got a 78 Walter Payton League leaders in the bottom. Actually, you got a bunch of stars, mainly from the late 70s. There's like a George Blanda. There's some league leader cards at the top. There's an Art Monk rookie on the lower left, just to sort of cut off from the fixtures. It's a 1981 Topps Monk rookie. Most of those cards are going to kind of be a dollar type value. And then the 50s commons, 60s commons are sort of, 50 cents to a dollar. Again, it's very dependent on condition for vintage lots always, but I'm just sort of guessing that, assuming this is like a mid-grade lot across the board, or maybe a little bit better than mid-grade. The 290 Deion Sanders don't do anything. There's really no like notable card would sort of be my issue with this lot. You have a bunch of dollar cards and a bunch of 50-cent cards, maybe up to $2, but I probably wouldn't have paid that for this lot. But at $30, there's nothing wrong with the purchase. You're just probably not going to be able to make much money off it if that's your goal. But that's it. Thank you everyone for watching this week's regular rollers. Hope you all enjoyed, and see you all again next time. Thanks everyone.